Hello, my name's James Patterson and welcome to this video tutorial. I'm going to show you how to retouch a portrait exclusively using Adobe Camera Raw. We'll start off with this image on the left here. We have a portrait that's slightly overexposed. There's a few blemishes around the face. It's looking a little dull and flat. And we will turn it into this image on the right where we have boosted the tones, we've softened the skin, we've improved the colour of the eyes, we've boosted the lips, and we've de-yellowed the teeth and made many other little adjustments to really make the most of the portrait. So let's just escape out of review mode here in Bridge, and we will go ahead and open up our raw retouch before.nef into Adobe Camera Raw. So the first thing we're going to do is to crop in slightly tighter. So let's grab the crop tool along the toolbar here, and we'll click and drag to draw a rectangular area like this. So I just want to crop in slightly tighter to kind of focus attention on the face a little bit more. So something like that looks good. Let's double click to apply that. With the crop tool in Adobe Camera Raw, you can always go back and readjust the crop if you decide that you want it slightly looser. So we've applied that crop by double clicking within the image there, and then we'll go to the basic settings here and adjust some of the tones. So it's looking a little cool, so we'll bring the temperature up to about 6,000 like that. Then let's drag exposure back slightly, see if we can bring back some detail to about minus 0.10. Then I think recovery is going to help us out here to bring back some of the detail in the skin. So let's set recovery to about 30, 33, something like that. Next, let's add a little bit of black. So I'm going to hold Alt and drag the black slider. This gives me an idea of which areas of the image are being clipped to pure black. So if we bring it up to about 10, so we have a few pixels going to pure black. This is just going to make the most of our tonal range. Then let's just boost the contrast slightly. We'll set the contrast to about 36, and also we'll increase vibrance just to bring out some saturation in the less saturated colours. So let's bring that to about plus 10. Okay, so I'm fairly happy with those basic adjustments we've made. Let's go to the spot removal tool, which you can access by hitting B or clicking on the tool here in the toolbar. Let's zoom in a little bit closer, so you can use Command or Control and plus or minus to zoom in or out, like so. And you can hold spacebar to move around the image. So let's just get a nice close-up view of the skin here. And we want to have a look to see which areas we can improve. So if there's any blemishes or marks, we can get rid of those. So with our spot removal set to type heal, and we'll have radius, we're not really concerned about radius because we can adjust the radius using the bracket keys. So the right bracket key will make the radius larger and the left bracket key will make the radius smaller. We'll have opacity set to 100, and I can see there's a couple of marks underneath the nose here. So let's click once with the spot removal tool, and you can see this brings up two circles. So the first circle, the red circle, tells me the area that's being healed. The green circle, which I can pick up and drag around to wherever I like, gives me an area to source from. And the great thing about the spot removal tool in ACR is that you can change these settings at any time. So I can select a new source, or I can change the size of my heal area anytime I like. So let's go ahead and click again over this area here, and let's move our source area over here. We can click on Show Overlay to toggle those circles on or off and see how we're doing. Let's continue to click and heal around these areas here, and we're just going to whiz around the image and get rid of any blemishes that are slightly distracting like this. We don't want to get rid of too much detail. So you can see this can be done fairly quickly. Just resizing my tool there with the bracket keys. Let's move over this area here. There's a few marks on the forehead here. We'll just get rid of those very quickly. So you don't really need to check how your tool's doing. I can see with this click I just made here, this circle here, that it's actually selected the wrong source. Most of the time it gets the source right, but this time it's guessed that I want to source from this area here, which isn't right. So let's click that green circle and drag over this way to get rid of that and improve that healing area there. And you can also delete any circles you've made. So let's say I'm not happy with this healing I've done here, I can just hit backspace to get rid of it. Let's change type to clone now, and we can do some cloning. So it's always best to work with cloning at a low opacity. So let's bring the opacity slider down to about 15, like this. Then we want to reduce these bags under the eyes here. So let's click with the clone tool, and you can see it works in much the same way as the heal tool. You can select a source and it will clone directly from that source. So I'm going to try and build up this cloning area here just to soften this bag. So let's see how that's working. I'm going to uncheck show overlay, and then we can hit P to toggle between a before and after view. So you see that's done a very good job of just softening those bags there. Let's do the same with this eye over here. So let's check show overlay again, and we can see the circles we're making. So again, I'm going to just very quickly add my cloning circles like this. Then let's uncheck show overlay. Let's hit P again to see how we're doing. And that's looking pretty good. Maybe we could just do with resizing a couple of these points and sourcing slightly lower down the cheek, like this. Let's bring that in slightly. Okay, let's uncheck that and have another look. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's just hit Command or Control and 0 to zoom out fully. Now let's move on to one of the most powerful features in Adobe Camera Raw, which is the adjustments brush. You can find it in the toolbar here, or simply hit K to access it. We can use the adjustments brush to target certain areas within the image and apply adjustments specifically to those areas, which is fantastic because you can do so in a completely non-destructive way. So let's just click on the forehead here, and you can see this has given me a new pin. I have options here where I can show or hide my pins, and also we're going to be using these auto mask and show mask options quite a lot. Let's check show mask, and we'll choose a nice garish colour for our mask, so a nice green would be good. Let's hit OK. Then I want to paint over the area of the skin to build up a mask which I can then apply adjustments to. Let's press Command and Control and plus to zoom in a bit and use the space bar to move around. And I'll begin to paint over this area here. You can see my brush has two circles. The inner circle is the kind of solid area of the brush, and the outer circle is the area of the feather. So as well as being able to adjust the size of my brush with the bracket keys, left or right, if I hold Shift and use the bracket keys, you can see I can adjust the area of my feathering. So let's just continue to build up this mask here. I think we'll bring density up slightly to about 78. Just to make that mask more intense. I'm going to pause the video just while I tidy up this mask. So here you can see I have my nearly finished mask. There's a couple of areas here where I've gone over the edges. If I hold Alt, I can switch to my eraser tool and remove those overlapping areas there. You can see also I've taken care not to go over the eyes because we want to retain detail in these areas. Okay, so I'm happy with that. You can always adjust a mask at any time. So let's uncheck show mask, and then we will adjust the sliders here. I'm just going to reset all my sliders to 0 initially by double clicking on the slider area here. And then to soften the skin, we're going to adjust the clarity slider. So let's drag this clarity slider back to about 75. And again, you can hit P to give you a preview of how that's working. So You can see how that's softening the skin while still retaining a lot of the texture. Next, let's click New, and we will add a new pin. Let's zoom in a little bit to the eyes here. And I'm going to click again with New selected to add a pin here in the eye. Then again, I'm going to paint. Let's check Show Mask so we know where our mask is, and we'll paint around the iris here. Let's do the same on the other eye. Then again, let's uncheck Show Mask, and we need to reset our clarity slider to 0. So let's double click on that slider there, and then we'll bring brightness up to about 44. Let's boost the contrast slightly, so about 40, and let's add a bit of saturation as well, about 30. Let's hit P again, see how that's looking. It's looking pretty good to me. Let's click on New again, and this time we're going to boost the whites of the eyes. So let's click on the white area here to add a new pin. Let's double click again on each of these sliders to reset them. And also let's check Show Mask. This time we're going to also check Auto Mask. And then let's just zoom over this eye here. So with Auto Mask selected, I can paint around these areas here, and the automatic setting does a pretty good job of finding the edges for me. Let's just hit Alt. So you can see where it's gone over the edge slightly there, and also there. So we'll hold Alt and remove those. Then let's do the same with the whites on this eye. So just painting fairly quickly, and Auto Mask is doing a good job like that. Now again, let's uncheck Show Mask, and to boost the whites in the eyes, we'll just bring the brightness up to about +20, somewhere like that. Okay, let's move on to the lashes. So I'm going to click on New again. Let's add a new pin over the lashes here, and let's Show Mask. We'll uncheck Auto Mask this time and paint very roughly over the lashes here. Let's do the same for the other eye. Then let's uncheck Show Mask, and let's move back to this eye here. We're going to increase the sharpness, so let's bring sharpness up to about +60. And let's hit P to see how that's looking. So you can see those 3 adjustments really boosting the eyes there, making them pop out of the portrait. Let's move on to the lips. Then again, let's click New and add a pin on the lips here. Let's have Auto Mask and Show Mask selected. Then let's just whiz over the lips like this. I'm doing this very quickly. Obviously you can be a bit more precise about your masking. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Then let's go to uncheck Show Mask, and we'll reset all our sliders like this by double clicking on them. And let's bring brightness down slightly to about -6. Let's boost contrast a little bit, so +14 I think. Also we can add a colour to the lips, so let's click on the colour swatch here, and you can go crazy with the colours if you like and give us some nice bright purple lipstick. I think we'll choose a soft kind of pink colour like this. Let's hit OK and see how that's working, just by hitting P again. Okay, I'm happy with that. We'll go to New and click on the teeth this time. Let's hit Show Mask and just whiz over the teeth. Just like this. Okay, let's uncheck Show Mask and reset our sliders again. Then let's boost the brightness a little bit. Let's bring that up to about +17, and let's take away some saturation just in case there's any yellowness creeping in. So we'll take that to about -30. That's fine. Okay, let's just zoom out and see how it's looking. And I'm going to add one more adjustment just to tone down some of the detail in the sharper areas of the hair here. So let's click a pin up here. Let's uncheck Auto Mask and let's check Show Mask. And let's just whiz over these areas here. So there's a few kind of sharper bits of hair that I think would benefit from softening down a little. And then let's reset our sliders again. Let's uncheck show mask. Then let's drag the clarity slider back again to about -66, and let's bring sharpness down as well to about -20. Let's just zoom into this area of hair to see how that's affecting it. Also, you can see I've forgotten to take the colour off, so it's giving my hair a nice pink tint. So we'll click on the colour swatch here, and let's just drag the swatch back to white, and then we can hit P to see how that's affecting the sharpness of the hair around here. I'm quite happy with that. Let's hit Command or Control and 0 again to zoom out, and then we can uncheck show pins just to see how it's looking. I'm very happy with all those adjustments. If you want to go and change anything, you simply click on the relevant pin and make any adjustments you like. So let's go back to our Basics tab by clicking on the Zoom tool here. And I'm just going to make a couple of final tweaks just to reevaluate the tones. I think it could do a slightly more black, so I'm going to drag the black slider in a little bit. And also we could probably boost the contrast slightly. Then I'm going to go to my HSL grayscale tab here, and on the saturation area here I'm going to just drop the saturation of the red slightly, just to take some of the redness out of the skin to about -20. And there we have it. That's our finished portrait, fully retouched in ACR. And of course, the beauty of working like this is you can go back and make any changes you like. I can go back into my spot removal tool and change any of these spot removal points I've made. I can go back to my adjustments brush and, you know, redo any of these pins and tidy up the mask, do whatever I like in there. I can even go back to my crop tool and change the proportions of my crop. So it's all fully editable and totally non-destructive. That's it. Thank you very much for watching.